Good afternoon, everybody. We are doing a farm feature today on the Andrew Elliott's farm here at Blackhaugh at Clovenford at Galashiels. Now, it's a very interesting farming setup here. Quite a tough farm, Blackhaugh and Newhall. Rises up to over 2,000 feet. It's basically a predominantly a forage grass and forage based system. Andrew has, the last 3-4 years, he has been establishing his grass under whole crop barley after he breaks up the ground in the previous year with a forage crop of hybrid kale and some stubble turnip, hybrid mix, which he directs drills into old burnt off ground and then grazes that off with his sheep and cattle over the winter, and then the following spring he will direct drill his barley and then oversow the grass over the top of it. So basically he has stopped ploughing. There's no ploughing being done on Blackhaugh, and one of the reasons you'll see here on our left is that these piles of stones around the thing, so that the land has got a very high stone content. You can see with the walls, and I think, as Andrew discovered many years ago, that you could spend your life picking stones here if you were ploughing the land. So his system is virtually now is non-ploughing and using the livestock with the forage crop to break the ground up, and then his whole crop is a means of introducing the grass undersown, takes his whole crop off. This field we're in now was established in end of April, beginning of May. He sowed a barley in here after kale. This is a Mingery. A Mingery mix, which is predominantly late, 80% late varieties, but with 20% intermediates, with a good content of white clover. This has got 6% white clover, permanent white clover blend, and you can see a great take of it. So alongside this, Andrew has really concentrated in the last few years on getting his pH levels higher on the farm from what they would traditionally have been. So he has gone to using exclusively calcium lime because his magnesium levels were quite high. A lot of his soils were quite tight and things, so he's used a lot of calcium lime. These soils here also traditionally would be low in phosphate. So a lot of this land here in this part of the western borders would be low in phosphate, and so he's tried to to build up these phosphate levels. He obviously brings in straw from another unit, bedding cattle, so he's got dung, and he's also got slurry, which he's taking around after his silage crops. So he's trying to use that to make the best use of it to get his phosphate and potash levels up as well. But it's a very good example. This was whole cropped in the first week in September. Came off, I think, about the 8th of September, whole cropped, and it's been grazed with sheep. So it's a lovely take of Mingery here set up. So he will probably graze this again now, maybe flush some ewes on it or that before the winter. So this is basic system. Andrew's here at Blackhaugh. It's very much a breeding unit. He has got here with his Blackhaugh, he has just over 200 Aberdeen Angus cows here, of which 160 of them probably calve in the spring, and 40 odd autumn calvers as well. So he has a range of bulls then that he's selling in the spring, and he sells his bulls direct off farm, and they're very much sold on a forage-based diet. So he doesn't push them. There's very little cereal or grain being fed to these bulls. They're grown on forage systems. So he's got his whole crop barley and good grass silage is basically what these young bulls are on in the winter. Not pushed really with a lot of concentrate. And his sheep system, he's got these wool shedding, the Cheviots, the Chevieses, and his Blackhaugh Suffolk flock, which are very much based on forage as well, the forage-based system. So the key here is growing good quality grass. And one of the things that Andrew has really done on this farm is he probably 15 years ago he really decided that he was going to make his fields smaller. So he split up a lot of the fields, he planted a lot of hedges, he put in a lot of electric fences, he put in, I think, over 100 water troughs to have smaller paddocks so he could manage his grass better, so he could rotate his stock around, constantly keep them moving, you know, onto fresh bite, on the basis that grass grows grass. If you graze it, rest it, let it recover, things. So his system here with his Chevieses and his Anguses combined, like I said, is very much a forage-based system. We'll go and have a look at some more grass. We'll go over and have a look at a bit more of the farm over on the other side with some stock. Continuing on, we've just moved around here to another bit here on Blackhaugh. This is a field here called the Stell, which again is a new field of Mingri, established here under whole crop barley. Went in the beginning of end of April, beginning of May. Quite tricky conditions here in this part of the borders, but you know, very late spring, wet. But they made a good job, and it's just interesting here to see how the turnip, the Samson stubble turnip from last year, there's still the odd volunteer with having drilled the barley back into the last year's forage crop. We've still got a bit of stubble turnip, so there's a bit of feeding here from last year has come again in the bottom. But as you can see again here, where we are up on the edge of the bracken and the hill here behind us, tough bit of country, a lot of stones, but a great take of Mingri. You know, really good take. Nice bit of clover in it, so it's well set up. Andrew's got some of his Chevies lambs here. He's finishing here, the sort of tail end of his lambs that are on here, just tidying it up, trying to take this down, get it set up, so there's not too much growth going into the winter. But you know, a good take of grass, and it just gives you an idea of the sort of level. We're up here probably, I would imagine here we're probably just on 1,000 feet, getting up to 1,000 feet. You know, not an easy bit of ground, but a great way to establish grass, you know, and get it set up, you know, for this forage-based system. So, finally, we've come around here at Blackhaugh. We've come up to the top of Cadden Head. So we're probably here up about 1,500 feet up, 1,500 feet. This is a field again of Mingri with a kilo of Diceros Coxford in it that was established in 2023. This field was whole cropped up here. And again, it's a great example. Here we are, the middle of October, very good take of grass. And I suppose the really interesting thing here at Blackhaugh with Andrew Elliot, he's really concentrated on his genetics of his sheep, bringing in new genetics to work with the farm, the environment, the altitude he's at. You know, the stock that historically they know have done well on this type of farm. He's again down here below us. We've got his grass-fed Suffolks, which Andrew's had a tremendous sale, on-farm sale in September. His Suffolks are up here, like I say, 15th of October. there is a heap of grass, and what we're really seeing is by concentrating on his lime, pH, phosphate, fertility, using his dung and slurry to build these levels up, and introducing new grass genetics and clover into his rotation, it's been a win-win. And I think that's what we really enjoy coming here and looking at this farm, because we can see how these new grass genetics, these new varieties coming through, how they work in what is a difficult environment to farm in. Shallow soils, lots of stones, cold winds, but stock have done really well. So it's a win-win, and it's as we say, it's about making sure that whether your forage crops or your kale or sweds, your grass, your clovers, it's identifying the right mixtures, the right varieties for your system, for your type of farm, to make it work, and it's a win-win. So that's the story of Andrew Elliot here, Blackhaugh Farm.